Um, yeah, that way works. Okay, yeah. So sorry, I need to get a new keyboard for my laptop. I have a Surface Pro, and yeah, I've had this keyboard for like a while. I need to get a new one. Um, so yeah, I'm just gonna start out uh the Bible study with two big verses, right? So it's about I'm gonna go really back really quick. So discovering God's given gift, and again, like I said, it was a pretty interesting topic. Um, so I don't think we really talked so much about this before. Um, but it falls in line with what we talked about last week with discipleship, and uh, so I've been looking since the weekend, and today, and yeah, and a little bit last night, kind of got it all done together. Um, so there's a lot of references to gifts, right? In the Bible and what we do with them. So I'm gonna read the first verse right here in First Peter 4:7-10 from the ESV version. The end of all things is at hand. Therefore, be self-controlled and sober-minded for the sake of your prayers. Above all, keep loving one another earnestly, since love covers a multitude of sins. Show hospitality to one another without grumbling, as each has received a gift. Use it to serve one another as good stewards of God's varied grace. Whoever speaks as one who speaks oracles of God. Whoever serves as one who serves by the strength that God supplies, in order that in everything God may be glorified through Jesus Christ. To him belong glory and dominion forever and ever. Amen. And yeah, I just highlighted. I didn't want to. I could have cropped the this part of the verse, but I think the whole thing in what Peter was saying is like really powerful. And again, it's like I think it was necessary to bring the whole thing, but just highlighting that part about we receive gifts, and yeah, we each all have like I think the gift like a purpose. Like we all have like a special talent. Like sometimes here athletes are like, oh yeah, God gave me the talent, and yeah, that may be true. Yeah, some of us have unique abilities that others really don't, and it doesn't necessarily go to like sports or even like, oh, you're super smart. Like it just thinks that you are, just naturally good at. Um, then if I can just have Nathan, can you read James 1:17-18?
Every good gift and every perfect gift is from above, coming down from the Father of lights, with whom there is no variation or shadow due to change. Of his own he of his own will he brought us forth by the word of truth, that we should be a kind of first fruits of his creatures.
All right, yeah, thank you. And yeah, just again uh in case I think these are two good introduction verses or like, oh, what are gifts from God, right? I think we're all mature. We know they're not like presents or anything like that, but we know like I think everyone in this call and then the other people who couldn't make it today know like gifts refer to like some sort of talents, right? And yeah, we know God does give gifts, and every gift that he gives us is it's to serve one another, right? As Peter says, it's not, again, it's not so much of a, oh, I can like go play soccer or basketball better than everyone else, but it's to help me in my walk with Christ, and to benefit the others around me. So I'll go to the next slide. Um, and then yeah, so I think the big thing is why should you know spiritual gifts? And so yeah, there's a lot of pastors that have had like videos, well, like sermons about it, and I couldn't read them all or I couldn't watch them all. So I looked at a few, and then I got a good consensus. These are like the three bullet points off of the many I found. Um, and yeah, like I again, there could be more. Maybe I was trying to include a bit more, but I didn't want to make the study go too long. And I'm sadly didn't have all that time. But so yeah, I'm gonna go with my top three. So yeah, number one is knowing spiritual gifts help you understand God's will for your life, and that's pretty self-explanatory. Once you know that you're good at something, right? Whether that be like, oh, you're a good like public speaker, right? You you definitely have that role of, oh, you can, talk to people at church, maybe, be some pastor, because you can't really be a pastor if you don't like to publicly speak, right? And you can even see with Moses, like Moses wasn't, he said, I can't speak, and in that time, you know, Jesus, God gave him Aaron to speak for him. Um, but yeah, like obviously he accommodated him, and then nowadays, it's, as we know, like it's not about like one person, right? We're not like what other religions do, like Joseph Smith, like it was all through him. Like no, it's all a collaborative, like it's all of us working together. So um we all got different roles. And then that kind of goes into second to the second point, knowing your spiritual gifts helps you, what God has not called you to do. Um I like that one because a lot of pastors say like um there are a lot of churches here in the United States where they'll be saying like, "Oh, God told me to do this. Oh, God told me to do this," right? Or like, "Oh, God said, oh, like Valentine's Day, they'll be like, "Oh, God said like you should marry me," or something like that, right? And when you really, you know, read your Bible and you discover like your gift, you know what God had called you to do, and then what He called you not to do, right? Because I know that in the world, right, they're trying to kind of destroy like I guess you can say like gender roles or just different kind of like hierarchies of power, right? They want to make everything different now. But that's not how God has it, right? There's certain things that people do, and that's how it works, right? We all got different things, and it's not because it's like it's for our benefit, right? Not everyone can do everything. So, and we're all made uniquely and differently, right? So, where God's not gonna make Andrea like, oh, Andrea, I need you to go like lift up a 200-pound rock. Like that doesn't make any sense, You might ask me or maybe I don't know Nathan if we get really strong to do that. He can bless us with that strength, but it's kind of bad metaphor. But yeah, well, he tells you what God called you not to do. So, um, it helps you stay in line with what it was important, right? And a lot of things like gifts can be, again, other than speaking, just patience, really good discernment, right? We're looking at like the fruit of the spirit, um which is yeah, people have those talents to just love. Like they're just people that are really good lovers that calm people down. When you walk into a room and you just feel like so stressed out, there's no people that have that ability to like, hey, everything's gonna be all right, and you feel better, right? Because God gave him that gift, right, to spread like the peace. um, and then the last point is knowing your spiritual gifts build unity among Christians. And surprisingly, from again, like I think it's just based off churches here in the United States. People will tend to sometimes fight over like, oh no, like I I'm supposed to do that, or like this is like meant for me, or again, um it's like people fighting over roles, but again, it clearly states like the church is us, right? We're the church. We have to be uh working not for ourselves, but for Jesus Christ. Um, and when you know your spiritual gifts, again, like what roles you fill in, right? Not everybody can be a you know not everyone can be a pastor, but there's so many other roles in the church that is important, right? You have missionary people, you have people also like deal with money and help with that. You have people working behind the scenes planning, like, planning events, not just Sunday service, but like community, like we're doing outreach, hey, come visit our church, like um flyers. There's so many things that goes into the church. And also singing. I can't believe I forgot that. Not everyone can sing, right? That's why Sister Angie's the one in charge of singing, not like someone like me or anybody else, because you have the voice, you can sing, right? So those are your spiritual gifts. Um, and yeah, I just find it surprising that a lot of people tend to fight over like roles. And again, it's like it's more of a, I think a human thing, because everyone wants to have the attention on themselves. And again, like I don't know all these churches, right? But um, I think it's important um that we remember that, because then that way we stay spiritually mature, right? We're not like going into like something that's not that's really not needed to bring up about, right? That you're making a mountain out of nothing. It's just a role. Like we are doing things to serve the kingdom of God. Um, then I want to try to get rid of this. Can I get rid of this? I'll just put it up here. Yeah, sorry. Oh yeah, sorry, Andrea. um, yeah, but yeah, you could be strong. I'm just saying, like, it's yeah. If God that's what your gift is, but again, I'm just a bad. It was a bad joke. But yeah, so Second Timothy 1:6-7. Um, Josue, can you read that really quick? If you want, you can read it in Spanish as well. It doesn't matter if you have your Spanish Bible out.
Ok. Por lo cual te aconsejo que despiertes el don de Dios que está en ti por la imposición de mis manos, porque no nos ha dado Dios el espíritu de temor, sino el de fortaleza y de amor y de templanza.
Thank you, Josue. And yeah, again, like, he gave us, again, power, love, like we just read in First Peter, covers a multitude of sins. And obviously we all fall short of the glory of God. Every day we have something we can do better in. And the fact that we're a loving church that love and help each other, like that is powerful. Like we're gonna hold each other accountable, and we're gonna keep growing, and then we're gonna keep making new disciples. That's a good thing. And then self-control, and I think that's actually the word I was looking for. Like there's a lot of churches that, at least now, or probably since back then, I don't know, I've only been on this earth for like 23 years. They lack a little bit of that. But again, that's one of the fruit of the spirit. It's a sign of spiritual matureness, right? You can have self-control. You know, I'm not gonna take the bait and be petty, or again, like try to fight for a role that's not meant for me, right? Okay, so go to the next one. And then these are just more verses on what is about gifts, and what the, because everything we do have to be tracked in the Bible, right? So um I'll have a I'll see. Let me see. Oh yeah. Adriel, can you read First Corinthians uh 12:8-11 really quick, please?
For to one is given through the Spirit the utterance of wisdom, and to another the utterance of knowledge according to the same Spirit, to another faith by the same Spirit, to another gifts of healing by the one Spirit, to another the working of miracles, to another prophecy, to another the ability to distinguish between spirits, to another various kinds of tongues, to another the interpretation of tongues. All these are empowered by one and the same Spirit, who apportions one individually as he wills. And God has appointed, oh wait, that's it.
It's okay. You
Or
can
that one.
continue. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
sorry. And God has appointed in the church first apostles, second prophets, third teachers, then miracles, and gifts of healing, helping, administrating, and various kinds of tongues. Are all apostles? Are all prophets? Are all teachers? Do all work miracles? Do all possess gifts of healing? Do all speak with tongues? Do all interpret?
Thank you, Adriel. Yeah, I think this verse actually describes I was just trying to say a lot better. That's why I picked this verse, because this verse, and it really just ties in to what I was saying about roles, right? Another, it's all by the same spirit, right? The spirit of Jesus Christ. The Holy Spirit. Some people can work miracles, some people heal, some people are just really smart with the knowledge. They can quote the verses, they can, they're just really wise. And then other people, like, they have that really good discernment between the spirits, right? And then others, the speaking of tongues, understanding tongues. Um, and then I like how I couldn't, I didn't, I was gonna probably try to put the whole block, but again, you can go back to First Corinthians 12 on your own and read that whole thing. I recommend it. But I just picked this because at the end, like Paul, like ending it like that, like, everybody has a role, like has apostles, prophets, teachers, and everyone works miracles, and everyone can help heal, you know, and then administrate, and then yeah, obviously back in the day they're speaking tongues. So it just showed the usefulness of everybody, right? Like everybody has roles, and it doesn't matter your title because we're all through one spirit, right? All these are empowered by one spirit and the same spirit. So again, like you have to have that self-control, that selflessness to be humble. That's the whole point. We're supposed to be humble in the first place. But some people, like, they all want to be leaders, but we are not all honestly called to be leaders. There are some of us that are meant to be followers, right? Like some of us are meant to be like, vice presidents, or like back by I'll use a better sports analogy, like a backup quarterback. Like you won't get that starting job. That's for somebody else, but you're still useful because if that quarterback goes down, someone else, you need to step in and fill in. Um, but that's just how we are. But because pride is so, especially today, it's so like rampant. It's so everywhere. Everyone wants, like, oh, it's me. It's about me, and then self care. Like again, it's useful, but sometimes it gets way too much and blown out of proportion. And even we when we discussed like a year and even 2 years ago about even parts of religion, like if you're the God, it's like you can control anything. It's like that's false, like we're not all meant for that. We all are useful. There'd be no point if everyone is a pastor, that would make no sense. The church wouldn't work. Then what, everyone's gonna just take a day lecturing? Like, no, like we all got roles and we all got gifts that we can use for the glory of God, right? Like I am not gonna be complaining, oh man, like Nathan can heal people. Why can't I heal people? But that's his thing, I'm happy for him. God bless him to do that. And he has a role. I maybe haven't found my role yet. Or someone else, oh well, I don't know my role. Well, we're gonna get there. But yeah, like everyone has their um has yeah, it's like we're all in a piece of the puzzle for God. And God puts us in positions to win. Very much like, like a coach of a sport team. That head coach is meant to put his players in the best position to win. And God's doing that for us too. So I'll go ahead and read this in Romans 12, 4-8. For just as each of us has one body with many members, and these members do not all have the same functions, so in Christ we, though, form one body, and each member belong to all the others. We have different gifts according to the grace given to each of us. If your gift is prophesying, then prophecy in accordance with your faith. If it is serving, then serve. If it is teaching, then teach. If it is to encourage, then give encouragement. It is giving, then give generously. If it is to lead, do it diligently. If it's to show mercy, do it cheerfully. And again, like everything builds up on each other, right? It says it right here. And then just to like be clear, like it doesn't mean like, oh, like I'm the prophecy guy. Everyone should do a little bit of each other, right? Like we go to school, like there's many subjects, like we all should know a little bit about each other. But again, that's your gift, that's your specialty, right? Like I went to college for bio, right? Like, so I obviously did my English, history, all those other courses, right? You need to have you should know all the functions. But my thing is bio, my thing is science, right? So my thing is serving, right? I'm a servant of the people, right? I'm not sure what Andrea went to college, but she majored in something else. That's her gift. That's her role. But she also knows a little bit of what I do and others as well. Same thing with like Nathan Adriel. They're doing something, but they're specializing in one thing. But that means but we're all working together. And again, we do not all have the same function. And I think again more and more today, like I see that like in a lot of the articles and videos that I was reading is saying that they're trying to sadly destroy that function. Like, oh, like everyone wants to do what they want, and it's no, it's like these members do not have the same function. We're all in one body, but we all, and then that's why like it's important to promote the uniqueness of what we all have to do, right? So we can't all be good. Well, we all should be encouragers, but there's some again that are just really good at doing it, and there's some we all need to give, but there's some that are just in a way better position to give. And again, and right here said to lead, right? Everyone wants to be a leader, but some people just can't be a leader. It's not in it for them. Oh, there's only a few selected few that are leaders, and that doesn't mean like, oh, it's so bad to be a follower. It's like, no, it's not your function. It's okay. It's okay to be a backup. It's okay to play different role. Like, we're all still useful. Remember, like, we all have the same spirit of God. So we're all special. So keep going. I'm almost done. Yeah. And so basically to the this basic I don't even think I got another slide. So it's like, how do I find my gift? And well, yeah, number one, God turns to the Bible. You gotta read, make that time to pray, to meditate, um, to really digest what you're reading, take notes, treat it like a class, right? Like we are going to school. You take class, you go to class, you take notes. When you read the Bible, try to take notes or like highlight something that really stands out to you. I mean, the whole Bible does, but something that really stands out to you can't highlight the whole Bible. Then yeah, number two, pray for direction. Um, I put that Ephesians 2:10. We are God's handiwork, created in Jesus Christ to do good work, which God have prepared us in advance to do. Um, that's the most important thing because we don't pray, right? The Bible also says you don't ask, you don't have because you don't ask. So you got to pray. Um, you got to be able to say, hey, like if you're not actively asking, then it's not gonna just come to you out of the sky, right? You got to be putting in the work to understanding what God has called you to do. And if you're not, you know, uh, reading the Bible or praying, you're not gonna get there. It's like, well, like I'm trying to lose weight, but I'm not going to the gym, then that nothing's gonna happen. Not gonna just magically, lose weight. You gotta put in that work and time. And then three, follow the will of God, right? Many are the plans in a person's heart, but it's the Lord purpose that prevails. That's Proverbs 19, 21. Pretty simple, right? But not a lot of people do it. People like twist the word, and they'll be like, again, like there's a lot of people that say like, oh, God told me to do this. That's not what God probably told you to do. If you read the Bible, that's what you want to do, but you're gonna just put God's name there to justify it, right? Um, God has a will, and we all know it, especially for us that are being baptized, being reborn. Like we have the spirit in us. We all feel guilty when we do something really bad, and that's our spirit fighting against that flesh, saying, "Hey, don't do this." Like you can search yourself. Like the like when you follow, like I didn't put the other verse there, but right in Jeremiah where it says, the heart is deceitful and is wicked beyond repair. Who else would know it? Um, God restored us. Like we kind of know the difference. That's the whole point of being spiritually mature. Like we got to make those better decisions. Um, because we know, like, hey, this is not it. We know, and if we don't know, we can ask for help, right? That's the whole point. Reaching out to like an elder or another friend or your parents or yeah, even the pastor, right? to help follow the will of God. And then number four is, remember the promises of God, right? God, we're all of um, one spirit. So I'll read this, just keep going along. So Romans 8:28 to 29. And I think God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose, which is to become formed to the likeness of his son. Um, and yeah, again, we're all doing this for Jesus Christ, right? Like all the works we do, everything we do is not for us, not for the benefit of the name of the church, for Jesus Christ, right? We're not trying to be the best organization on earth. We're trying to uplift his name and that other people could know like he's real, that he changed us, that there's hope for those who don't have hope. Like if you're tired with how you're living your life, like that emptiness, like Jesus Christ offers you that peace that no one can touch. Um, so yeah, we got to remember their promises that God promised, like He's gonna be with us until the very end, and we're all gonna find a gift. Um, so like maybe if you haven't found it yet, or you've been looking for it, don't be discouraged that you haven't found exactly what you done, right? Like not everyone is called at a young age, or depend, like you can read the Bible, there's many people who were called young, some were called old, right? Like Abraham had Isaac at like 99. Like it's his time, right? But again, like if you are reading the Bible, praying for direction, you're actively following the will of God, you're most likely gonna find what you're looking for. Because that's how God is. God always meets you halfway. Um, but again, like depending on your on your timeline. Well, not your timeline, God's timeline. Depending on what He has for you, maybe you have to wait later, or maybe you have to go through like a certain life experience. Um, or maybe He's waiting on you to be more spiritually mature, to be less about you and more about Him. Um, so many things that we can do better. Um, and yeah, and then the last thing is getting help from others, like I said earlier, and that comes really actually after number three. Um, so spiritual give is given to each of us as a means of helping the entire church. That's from First Corinthians 12:7. Um, that's the verse right before yeah, it's like literally, oh shoot, yeah, it's the verse right before, again, First Corinthians 12. I definitely go recommend reading that for this Bible study. But yeah, so the spiritual gift is not you. That's how you know it's a spiritual gift. It's not meant to help yourself. Again, like people and athletes will say like, "Oh yeah, God gave me the ability to throw this football or score all these goals," but I mean that's not necessarily a gift, a spiritual gift. That might be just a talented gift. Um, because you're helping the church, right? It means you can do these things. Uh, yeah, do these things for the church. Um, and it's meant to help everybody. So, and again, I'm not saying like there's not like good athletes and Christian athletes, or even other like Christian philanthropists. Like, of course, they help in their way, and but yeah, but this is like specifically talking just about the church. Um, and then the other verse, I meant to break that up. So let two or three prophecy, and let the others evaluate. Oh, it's actually prophecy. I actually copied and pasted that verse, so maybe that's was I must have missed that. I must have missed the word, but yeah, it's let two or three prophesy and let the others evaluate what is said, and that's also First Corinthians 14:29. And again, that just comes to check, right? Check what's been said, and that goes with following the will of God, right? If you're saying something, oh God, tell me like I need to go do this, then go ask an elder, go ask like Omar, Claudia, or go ask the pastor, go ask to Angie, like let them evaluate what is said, and because we all need help, right? Like not everybody can know everything. there's certain life experiences that have prepared us for certain things. So it's a collaborative effort, and I think that's probably why a lot of churches are probably failing now because they're not together. Um, they're more like they're more like just people showing up and not treating it like, oh man, this is a family. We're a family. Like we all have to do our work. We all got special times of work, right? Some of us clean the bathroom, take out the trash, cook. Um, some of us order stuff. Some of us like throw out the boxes. Like we all got big things to do in this house, and I don't think people are seeing it like as just a book club. Like we just meet once a week and that's it. Like, but no, like that's the point. Like we're growing, you know. Like we're growing. Like I'm not supposed to be the same I was 4 years ago, or like even last year. Like you gotta be some progressive growth and like better decision making to help us be more mature people. And um, again, like it's like you can even see like there'll be people again like arguing like, oh, like people do whatever they want, or you can just say like like they'll be like, oh yeah, like, oh, God told me to do this. But again, like, are you sure that God told you to do that? Did you read the Bible? Did you say to do that? Did you consult somebody? And if you didn't, then you're probably not doing that, you know? So God is not going to tell you something that contradicts his word, and God's not going to tell you something that can't be checked from, the other people in your church. So, um, so yeah, it was really fun studying for this. And again, I think it ties in pretty well with what we talked about last week, a big discipleship. And yeah, like it's I think the big takeaway is like, hey, we got it's a big family effort. Um, and we all need to understand like their roles. And as much as the world like wants to destroy roles, destroy hierarchies, they're there for a reason. I'm not saying all of them are necessarily good or like all of them should be followed the way they technically are, but like there's things that certain people do, right? And again, like not it's not like talking bad, but there's things that only men do and only women do, right? Like that's not a hot take. Like it might be out there in the real world, but it really is. Like there's certain things that I can't do that Andrea can do. There's things that Andrea can't do that I can do. Like it's just that's how God made things. But we're both special. We're both necessary. Um, well, I guess we're not necessarily necessary, but if to God, God can just find anybody else. But we're both useful in building, his church, and we both know like we got a big responsibility representing him, being an ambassador for him. And I think, uh, yeah, I guess I'm sorry, I did the last slide at work, but it's just basically a closing slide, and it was like one more verse. I will try to see if I can find it really quickly on my phone. Um, but if not, I think that basically concludes the study. Um, yeah, let me stop sharing now, or let me actually, yeah, stop sharing the screen.